obviously we know from there she went home and this blew up, and
Right.
that's why we're here today. After the 15th of July, when she came in here and had just picked up the car and left, did you speak to her, have occasion to speak to Cindy about this at all?
One-on-one, no. I think it was, like I said, just a group. I don't recall any discussion.
Did you ever go back to her house, or did you ever help them hand out flyers or anything like that?
Yes, some of us from work, we did go to her house. Was it that first Saturday after all this happened? And picked up some flyers.
We being you, Debbie
Bennett, Debbie Polisano, and Nilsa.
Okay. And any conversation with Cindy or George when you guys went to meet them that day before you hand out flyers or after?
Yeah, I mean, we were there with them and, talked with them for a little while. She had, there was an interview that she was doing. They were packing up and all their stuff. But she plotted out a little time because she knew we were coming and told us what time to come to pick up the flyers. And she wanted to spend a little time talking with us. Lee was there.
Mm-hmm. Did she mention anything about, did she seem upset? Did she seem worried? Did she seem angry? Or what was she like that first Saturday?
She was calm. I mean, she didn't seem angry. Jesse Grun showed up while we were there. She hugged his neck and said, "We got to bring this little girl home. We got to find her." But not upset, not angry, not emotional upset. No.
Have you talked to her since that day that you went?
I have. We've talked a few times on the phone, briefly, and then also, she came into the office, I think, once, maybe twice, maybe just once, but just briefly.
Mm-hmm. Did Cindy ever tell you, forgive me if I've already asked this, did Cindy already tell you anything about Casey taking money from her mother, Shirley?
No.
Over at Mount Dora?
When I first heard that was on the news.
So you don't know, you didn't hear anything about Casey stealing or taking money from her family until it was on the news?
Yes.
You never heard it from Cindy?
No.
Did you know anything about Cindy going to counseling or having to talk to a counselor during the month of June or July because of the stuff going on at home?
No.
You started shaking your head yes, and then...
Well, I wasn't aware at that time. I've heard since then that she did go see the person through here, EAP is what they call it, but I didn't know it at that time.
So she never spoke to you about having seen a counselor or having talked to someone about
She did not, no.
Did she ever make any comments to you or any statements to you about thinking or believing that Casey wasn't being responsible enough as a mother, that maybe she should take custody of Kaylee?
No. She never said anything to me like that.
Okay. Let's back up 2005. There were some problems or some concerns about Casey and her pregnancy, that a lot of people were telling me and have told me that there was, I guess, an issue with her pregnancy or her hiding her pregnancy. You can tell me in your own words about that.
Yes, I remember the day Casey came in. At that time, you would have to pass my desk in order to get to Cindy's office, and Cindy was in a meeting that day, and Casey came in, and she normally would stop by my desk or, and chat with me or whatever, or say hello. But that day, she immediately just zoomed by my desk, didn't say anything, but I hadn't seen her in a while. And the minute as she zoomed by, I'm like, she is pregnant, because at that time, I want to say that was probably, let's see, Kaylee's birthday is what, August? I think
August 9th.
I would say it was about a month, 6 weeks prior to Kaylee's birthday. So she was pretty good size. And actually I went to the other scheduler that used to be here, and she's no longer here. And I said, go over to Cindy's office and check Casey out. I said, I think she's pregnant. And sure enough, she came back to me and she said, she's got to be. But she had on this big coat and was trying to cover it up. I thought then I couldn't understand why Cindy, and maybe according to Cindy, she didn't know that she was pregnant, but I didn't know how she could not see that.
Did she ever mention anything to you about Casey having female issues or female problems before that?
Before that, I think it was after Kaylee was born. I think when she had mentioned that Casey was having some issues and having to go to the doctor. But it was like, I want to say it was the next year.
Mm-hmm. So nothing before? Never,
Not that I recall, no.
Do you know, or have you ever met Rick, Cindy's brother?
No.
Okay. Do you know anything about when Cindy and Casey and George went up to Rick's wedding? Do you know anything about what may have happened up there, or about her showing up pregnant? Nothing like that?
No. Mm-mm.
All right. That's about it. Bill?
John, Jeff Hopkins, did you know where he lived?
No.
And you never saw him?
No, sir.
So he lived, we don't know where.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything else about Casey in particular, or about Cindy and Casey's relationship, or even Kaylee and Casey's relationship that you feel is important that I haven't asked you about that you wanted to share with me?
I've often wondered about the story about, and it's always concerned me, is about Kaylee's father. Of course, I know the whole story about first it was supposedly Jesse's and then it wasn't. But then we were told that it was a guy from Tennessee, and then later on he was involved in an accident, according to
Who told you that?
Cindy.
Okay. She ever mentioned the name?
I don't think she did.
Any other particulars about it? Has she ever met this man, or has she ever met the boy, or anything like that?
No, she. I don't recall her saying that she ever met them. She did say it was just a friend of Casey's. That, if I recall correctly, that maybe they went to school together or something. But I just always wondered why they didn't have a name, or something to go on, or why they're not giving it to you guys,
You're not the only one wondering.
Oh, okay.
Anything else about Cindy or Casey or Kaylee that I haven't asked you about, or any relationships? Did Cindy ever describe how Casey's relationship was with George?
Yes, she did. She has told me before that Casey and George were constantly at each other.
Any reason why, or idea why?
Never said why. She mentioned to me a couple of times, that about an incident where Casey yelled at George, or would yell at George, or this and that and the other, and I'm like, I found that to be odd that Casey could talk to her father that way, just, like an adult,
What way?
She would just say something about she would yell at him. That Casey yells at George just as much as she does. Mm-hmm. So I found that to be odd.
What about Casey's relationship with Lee? Any problems there?
Not that I'm aware of. I've always heard that they were close, And
as far as Casey and Cindy, the way she would explain it here prior to this whole thing happening was that it was what?
Great. I always thought they had a great relationship.
Okay. Would you raise your right hand for me, Charles?
Yes.
Do you swear and affirm everything you just told me is the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.